Hi everyone, Stepan here. Game 59. In the last 7 games, I had 6 wins and a draw. It's not really a winning streak because it was 3 wins, then a draw, then another 3 wins, but it's still 7 games without a loss. Okay, we have a quiet Slav. If my opponent plays... Okay, if knight f3, I could have gone bishop f5, but now I'm just gonna go e6, going into a normal semi-Slav. There are some lines I don't like after bishop f5. So now we are in a normal semi-Slav defense. My opponent is Zenit 1956, joined 10 months ago, only plays rapid, I guess. Played a couple of blitz games, maybe. 2199. Okay, normal Meran semi-Slav. We're gonna get some theory now, hopefully. Plays bishop e2. Okay, against bishop e2, I normally play bishop b7. Because a6 and e4 is kind of tricky because I don't get to gain a tempo on the bishop after d5. There were 3 moves in that position: bishop d3, e2 and b3. Okay, wants to play b4. So, and that's playing to prevent c5. So if I go a5, I'm never playing c5. If I go a6, sorry. So I'm going... Okay, I'm going a5. I want to play against b4. Although now it's going to be harder to play c5. I'm going to have to go in a roundabout way to liberate my bishop. But b4 couldn't have been allowed because that would have been a complete positional bind. Although I could have played a6, b4 and then a5. Maybe. I'm trying to remember the theory here. There are so many lines. Okay, so e4 has happened. Normally I wish I could go e5 here, but I cannot. So can I go b4? So b4, e5 seems to be the only move that sort of saves the e pawn, if I'm not mistaken. So b4, if ab, rook a8, bishop a8. b4, ab, rook a8, bishop a8. Where does the knight move? Does my opponent still play e5? Okay, b4, e5, bc3, ef6, cb2, bishop b2, or cb2. b4 is interesting. I don't know theory here. b4 seems to be the only concrete way to punish this, so I'm gonna go for it, and if it's not good, I'm gonna learn. Okay, so this is probably theory, although I'm struggling to remember it. So if I take on c3, first of all, if I don't take on c3, my opponent's gonna go knight e4, and I don't like that. If I do take on c3, then my opponent takes on f6. What's that position like? bc3, ef6, cb2, bishop b2, or cb2, fg7, bishop g7, bishop b2. I cannot do anything but take on g7 if that happens. Let's look at the structure. The b file is open, my bishop is stuck. Okay, either BC or knight d5. If knight d5, then maybe even knight d5, not even knight d4. Knight d5, c d5, AB, AB, rook a8, bishop a8. Or sorry, queen a8 maybe even. And then my king side is extremely weak. Oh, I should know this. bc3, ef6. Well, I could go knight f6. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I have to remember. I have to concentrate. Okay, if BC, EF, CB, FG, bishop G, bishop B2, I have C5. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Oh, my opponent didn't take? Why didn't he take on G7? That makes no sense. My opponent should have taken on G7. Now I'm just up a pawn. Okay, but what do I take with? Taking with the knight allows knight e5. Taking with the pawn doesn't allow knight e5, but it ruins my castling. So do I take with the queen? That allows d5. I'm taking with the knight and I'm gonna allow knight e5 because I don't want to ruin my structure if I don't have to. Why am I up a pawn? Why didn't my opponent take? This is very strange. My opponent should have taken. Can I not go c5 now? Maybe I should go c5 after I castle. But then my opponent's gonna go rook c1. Also c5 allows bishop b5 check. So let's develop. Now knight e5 doesn't work because I just take the queen and play knight d5. Why am I up a pawn? My opponent had to take on g7. Okay, playing against c5, that makes sense. I'm just gonna castle. My opponent wants to go bishop d3 after knight e5. But I do have bishop a6. I don't know, I like my bishops, I'm up a pawn. I think if my opponent had taken on g7, it would have been a completely different game. Now, it should be good for me. Especially if I can play bishop a6. Can I play bishop a6? I think I can. Bishop a6. If queen c6, then I take on e2. If bishop a6, I play rook a6 defending. So yeah, I'm playing that. It seems like a good positional move. Because I'm never going to be in trouble on h7 and I'm getting rid of my bad bishop. And threatening to misplace the queen. Alright. I'm gonna take, because if knight c6, I can play bishop d1. Okay, so now bishop e5, d5, knight e5 seems good enough. Bishop e5. I can also go rook c8. I don't have to overreact. Let's see. This knight is stronger than my bishop, so maybe I should overreact. But I'm getting rid of my opponent's weaknesses if I do that. What's the alternative to taking? Rook c8 maybe? Queen c7? No, I'm taking. I don't want to have to deal with the knight constantly attacking c6 and the c-pawn cannot move. My knight's gonna sit on d5. It's gonna be a beautiful piece. And I'm unblocking my pawn. So now the c-pawn is free to move. Okay, so rook c8 seems sensible. Maybe queen d7, so that the f rook can come to c8. That makes more sense. And so that my rook's defending a6 still. My opponent wants to go bishop c5. I can see that. So maybe I grab the b file now. But if I go rook a b8, then there is bishop c5. Wait, rook a b8, bishop c5, rook fc8, bishop d6, rook b5. Seems to work. So I think I should grab the b file now. But there is queen a6. If queen a6, I can go rook back. Okay, no, let's just go rook fc8. I don't want to allow queen a6 unless I have to. Okay, rook c5. That's a surprise. Now I'm definitely grabbing the b file. So if I go queen b7, there's no rook b1. All right. My opponent's just playing instantly. My opponent wants to go queen c2. So maybe I can go queen b3 now. Queen b3, rook c6, rook c6, rook c6, queen a3. That seems to work. I'm gonna play rook queen b3. Because that prevents queen c2 and threatens knight f4, knight d3. But my opponent just trades. All right. Up a passed pawn. Queen a6 doesn't work because I take, and on rook c8 I have queen f8. Okay, threatens mate. I'm not that blind. So let's go g6. Oh, did I just trap my queen? No, I didn't. Did I just win? I did. What? Okay, this was a funny blunder. Okay. If you're like me and you think practicing against the engine is boring because it either crushes you or plays like an idiot, try playing against Noctie. Noctie is a human-like AI that's going to adapt to your strength, is going to play like a human, try to trick you like a human, and challenge you on your own level. The first thing you can do is, of course, assess your rating, and you can play a rating test against Noctie. Yeah, the only move is g4 and then queen f4 mate. Yeah. Good. Yes! 2557! Come on! It's going to tell you your strength, but there are many, many more features. The first thing is, when you play Noctie, you get instant feedback, and all of your moves will get sort of color-coded. Noctie will immediately tell you if you made a mistake. That way you can ask Noctie to see where you went wrong. You can play games in openings you're trying to learn. So you can import any repertoire you want and play Noctie in that specific opening. Just go to repertoires. I've imported the Hillbilly when I was doing the video on the Hillbilly, but you can obviously create any repertoire. Just paste the PGN, and if you, for example, play the London system, you can play the London system against Noctie. Flashcards are an excellent tool, and I've spoken to Samuel, the owner and inventor of Noctie. He's going to make them even better. Flashcards are basically the mistakes you made in your games. Noctie is going to make you pay attention to them, and in the future they're going to be grouped according to theme, so it's going to be even easier to navigate your mistakes. One of my favorite features, if not my favorite one, and the one I use the most, is themes. So you can play Noctie in any specific position you choose. So if you go to your themes, you can see that I've made quite a few. So let's say you want to play out this position. This is a position from Spassky's game where he triangulated perfectly. If you're trying to practice something, you can create a new theme. Just add an FEN or a PGN and play it out against Noctie. That way, if you have an endgame you would like to practice, you don't have to find an actual human to play against, nor will you have to play against a 2800 engine or against a 500 engine human. If you would like to check Noctie out, you can follow the link in the description, and if you would like to get a 64% discount, use the code HANGING Pawns. Thank you very much for this. Thank you, Noctie, for sponsoring the video, and let's get back. 4 wins in a row. Okay, 8 games, 7 wins, 1 draw. Let's go. Now, let's study the theory, and we're gonna be looking at the variation I was unfamiliar with. So starting here. So, okay, I went bishop b7, which is correct. My opponent went a3. Okay, so I hope you guys can see this. So what I was thinking, if I go a6, my opponent goes b4. And if I go a5 then that means that my opponent's rook is hanging because the pawn is pinned. So a6 first, b4, and then a5. Yeah, this was better. So my opponent would have to move the rook. Takes, takes, and now at least I have the open a file. Okay, the way I played it, I played a5. My opponent played e4. Okay, b4 has been played once by Larry Christensen, so it seems correct. Yeah, I mean, how else do I try and win the pawn? Okay, so b4, e5. And my opponent had to take on g7, so takes, takes. Wait, knight f6 was best? cb2, yeah. Because he takes with check. Takes and queens with check. If I take the bishop or the rook, my opponent takes and queens with check. So I'd have to take here. And I was planning to play c5. Okay, c5 is good, castles is better. Okay, now c5. Okay, I was gonna go c5 because the bishop is pinned. And I thought this could be a good position. Apparently it's just equal. When my opponent took on b2, yeah, now I'm just up a pawn. So let's see, castles, bishop d6 is best. Castles. Queen c7 was best, but bishop a6 is okay. Takes, takes. I should not have taken that knight, but I really didn't want to live with that knight. The alternative I was considering was queen c7. And then what do I do? Then I take. But isn't this the same thing as just my queen is on c7? Yeah, okay, e2 takes, takes, knight d5. Queen d7, I didn't want to be on a dark square. Yeah, I was expecting bishop c5, this is slightly odd. Queen b7 isn't the best move. Although, why would I play rook d8? I don't know. I would never think of rook d8. Queen b3. Yeah, and I don't know why my opponent traded. That makes no sense. But I was threatening to do this. Okay, rook c6, takes, takes. g6. Seems like just an extra pawn. Yeah, and then my opponent blundered. I may have played a perfect game. I mean, this is just... Let's see. I mean, I didn't play the best moves, but it doesn't seem like I made any mistakes. Even what I... Okay, so I should have gone a6 instead of a5. Why isn't it giving me the thing where I can see the mistakes? I don't know. Come on. Anyway, I should have gone a6 first. Okay, here. 100% accuracy, yes! This is my first game. Okay, I had one inaccuracy. Where's the inaccuracy? g6. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, now it's... Okay, 15... Yes, come on! 90... Okay, now it's 95. I'm not happy. Where's my other inaccuracy? Rook c5. No, that's my opponent's move. Bishop e5. Okay. Okay, so bishop e5 is inaccurate. Other than that, seems like a good game. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Let's hope the streak continues. How many points did I win? 4. Okay. Stay tuned for more chess. Bye-bye.